Hey guys, it's your boy Brian here, and I wanted to do a video talking about the latest news from Microsoft that they are planning to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation beyond existing agreements. Well, first thing I'll start off with is I think, Microsoft is on a PR tour to put regulators at ease. Of course, anytime you have a giant tens of billions of dollar deal, the FTC, the Department of Justice, are going to take a look at it. Congress is probably going to take a look at it, and you probably just putting out all the right things to say to get the deal done. That's the first thing I want to say. That I think a lot of 90% of the PR that's going on from Microsoft is to put the regulators at ease so the deal can be done. But that doesn't mean I think they're lying, because here's my stance. Any game that is multiplayer, right? Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront, even Halo, if it has a multiplayer component, it should be on every platform and it should be cross platform. That is my ultimate stance on every multiplayer game, because that keeps the game's lifespan going longer, because you may have majority of players. If you have 100 million players on PlayStation, 100 million players on Nintendo, 100 million players on PC, and 100 million players on Xbox, and each platform, the player base for a game cuts in half, well, that's still 50 million, and they're all playing together. And if it cuts more, and it's more and more, but by the time it dwindles to the point where people go into a game, a multiplayer game, and can't play the multiplayer because there's too low of a player base, it will be years beyond its lifespan because of the fact that so many platforms had access to it. So number one, I think this is the right decision, because I will always say for multiplayer games, they should always be cross platform. They should be on every platform, and everybody on every platform should play together. So games can last longer. I mean, games like Overwatch will last longer, Call of Duties will last longer. You know, try playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remasters multiplayer on a PlayStation or an Xbox or PC. It's a lot harder to find a game that's not team deathmatch, but if they were all playing together, you would still have other game modes that still have a lifespan. But I digress on that. But I will tell you why I think the biggest reason um they're going to keep things multiplayer. But first, I'll read you a quote from Microsoft President Brad Smith. He said that Microsoft told Sony it will make Call of Duty and other Activision Blizzard games available on PlayStation beyond the publisher's existing agreements, so Sony fans will be able to keep playing them. Microsoft would like to maintain similar arrangements with Nintendo. Again, I think the second aspect of this that no one's talking about is the microtransaction ones. Neither Sony nor Xbox have a mega player in the microtransaction games. They're not going to get Fortnite, right? Call of Duty now belongs to Microsoft, and Bungie now has Destiny, which are two major players in microtransactions. The other ones are Madden and FIFA, which they're not going to get because EA just makes hands over fist dollars with that. That's why you also keep these games multi-platform, because you have whales on every platform. You have whales on Nintendo, whales on Xbox, you have whales on PlayStation, you have whales on PC. You have people against what I believe, who buy into the microtransaction machine with no hesitation. And again, that's why it doesn't make sense to take. If you're spending 70 billion, you could probably recoup the next Call of Duty that is published under Microsoft owning Activision could recoup so much of the investment funds if it's multi-platform, if the game is quality, and the microtransactions. Call of Duty is still the best selling game in the world, and it took a sales dip. It didn't perform up to expectations. That's how powerful the name Call of Duty has become since Modern Warfare in the mid 2000s. So I really think that those are the two biggest reasons why the games will stay multi-platform, and I'm okay with that. Now, when I think single player games, it's a different story. Single player narrative driven games that don't have microtransactions will probably be exclusive because they only rely on the point of sale, meaning they rely on the one person buying it and they want to. But again, they may also make those multi-platforms because why would you lock off an entire segment? Now, I know a lot of people are upset about this, is because I get it. Sony has been practicing these stupid exclusivities, these timed exclusivities that drive me up the wall as well. I would love to get Ghostwire Tokyo for my Xbox, but I can't. I have to get it on PC because of the timed exclusivity, right? The Knights of the Old Republic should not be a timed exclusivity, and I'm very mad at Lucasfilm Games for doing that because that's a game that everyone across the board, Nintendo, Xbox, you name it, would want to play because it's a remake of a great game from our childhood. So many people are going to miss out because of Sony's timed exclusivity practices that I think are been anti-gamer and anti-consumer for years, right? But nobody ever raised a stink about it. Everybody praised Sony for it, but now, if Xbox even approached something like that, everybody will cry. Look, we don't know what's going to happen 10, 20 years into the future, but we will know for the immediate future they're going to keep it like this because they don't want the U.S. government to step in and break up the deal. That is the biggest thing they don't want, and they want to compete this. But I think if Sony starts releasing its stupid exclusivity practices, then they don't have to resort to it at all 10, 20 years down the line, because then we will move past a console wars into a content wars, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine because when we all get a chance to play great games, we all win. Okay? And Xbox is finally stepping up to the plate. There's other things that they mentioned, about trying to make games available on every device, right? Which is what I think they're really trying to do with Game Pass. They're trying to improve their store. Um, ever since they're trying to say they're gonna be the opposite of Apple. If you remember the Apple Epic lawsuit, which talks about how Apple pretty much controls how much money developers make with their apps through the microtransaction on their mobile devices, right? They they're looking. It looks like Microsoft is looking to the next level of how to innovate, and that's fine. But this deal is gonna come under scrutiny, and that's fine. Um, this is an unprecedented acquisition, but again, you know, Xbox. If you're still trying to frame this as Xbox being a monopoly, let's make it clear they're not. Okay, Microsoft owns pretty much every PC that's non-Apple, unless you do run a Linux operating system. And where is it that you buy majority games on PC? It's through Steam and Epic. They don't force you to buy through Windows to get their games, and they're gonna still publish their games on Steam and Epic. And they're probably gonna, find ways to publish their games on Nintendo and all that stuff as well. So, this thing about console wars, look, I get it. I kind of have my little grudge against Sony because Sony has been very anti-consumer, and people who blindly just let Sony get away with things are the problem. Okay, more people would have PS5s, okay, if people didn't just justify, well, PS5, it's capitalism, man. No, it's not capitalism. Okay, it's scalping because you're not developing a console. You're stealing Sony's console to pay double. But again, people who are stupid enough to pay it, you're also at fault, and I will never stop repeating that. But Sony could have put in things in place to stop scalping, to stop, I'm pretty sure there are a good chunk of PlayStations that are not factored into sales numbers that fell off the truck. Or maybe they are. I don't know. But you see the videos and the photos all the time. People with truckloads of PS5s, right? You see that. And Sony could have forced its retail partners to take more care in selling these things so that players got their hands on them, not scalpers. Will scalpers have existed? Yes, but it became so pervasive because Sony said, "Have at it." Microsoft said it too, but Microsoft was a little quicker to respond, and they made more available through their Microsoft store. And Sony made you stand in line and get a lottery ticket to buy a PlayStation. So I do have my grudges with Sony because they are very anti-consumer, and people just shrug it off, and I don't understand it. We'd be the People would have better experiences if we didn't excuse it. Okay. That being said, Microsoft is right to do this, especially for multiplayer games. I would like multiplayer games to be multi-platform, cross-platform play. And when you control Call of Duty, you're going to have a major bargaining chip because if you remember in the Apple Epic lawsuit, we saw what Sony charges people for crossplay. It's downright robbery to say you have to give us the money from people buying microtransactions on a PC because the game is also allowed to be played on a PlayStation. It's ridiculous. It's not right. And I think that's one of the things that Microsoft now has is they have a bargaining chip to do away with those practices, and Sony should do away with those practices. Stop being a barrier to the console should just be your preferred piece of plastic box. Okay, it shouldn't be a wall. As they say, a walled garden, which I would argue Sony's garden is way more walled off. And there's a great quote from the piece on the interview with the president of Microsoft, where he pretty much says, um, that they consoles were okay. Gaming has been important for decades. Where's that damn quote? I'm sorry. Let me just find it. Um, but he basically says that for decades, the model of gaming was that you sold a console at a loss and you developed games to get people to play in the ecosystem, right? And get people's to pick this as your preferred ecosystem. But this is yeah, emerging lessons now. Gaming consoles specifically are sold to gamers at a loss to establish a robust and viable ecosystem for game developers. But they want to break that and apply it across the board and make the ecosystem wider. And I think, again, having Call of Duty as a bargaining chip with Sony is going to enable them to tap into the Sony ecosystem. I'm not saying that if you own a PlayStation, you have to get Game Pass or you even have access to Game Pass, but developers will have more success, especially in the age of great online multiplayers that we know we can have if they were just developed right. We can have so much better games that will last a lifetime longer because all players across all platforms have access to play them and play them together. Okay, because it's not right that a multiplayer game suffers because of, well, it's made for Xbox Series and it's made for PS5, but my God, people can't get their hands on a PS5. But hey, it's playable. It's also for PC, and but these player bases aren't segmented amongst themselves. They're one in all, and that keeps the game going, allows developers to still have an ecosystem to support and let the game grow. Now, do developers do the best practices? No. A lot of this I truly think is from microtransactions, but again, I can live with microtransaction if a game is cross-platform, cross-play with everyone. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. It should all be we should all be playing together, and I will never stray from that stance. Anyways, guys, that's enough for me. And let me know what you think about the news from Microsoft. I think we got to start evolving from the console wars, but I understand why people, you know, especially people who have a grudge against Sony, because Sony has been very anti-consumer in its practices, and it's no shame to call them out on that. Anyways, like the video, give it a thumbs up. Dislike it, thumbs down. I don't care, Xbot or Pony. Um, Hopefully the console wars are over and the content wars have begun. All right, guys, I'm out. Bye.